my top 5 teams through week 16. Starting with number 5, they are dropping down again. It is the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I've seen a lot of rankings this week where the Eagles have fallen out of a lot of people's top 5s. They are on a 3-game skid now. The Panthers have actually won more games than them in the month of December so far. So they have been on a decline. I mean, they lost to the 49ers, they lost to the Cowboys, and now they've lost to the Seahawks. And it's the same problems that keep creeping up, and it's 2 for me. It is their pass defense. They have real problems defending the pass. I mean, they gave up a 92-yard game-winning drive to Drew Lock on Monday night in Seattle. Not a good start to the new era of play calling under Matt Patricia. And the other problem is their passing offense. It's stale. They've got 2 of the most dynamic receivers, 2 of the best receivers in the NFL, easily number 1 receivers in almost any team. AJ Brown, Devonta Smith. Jalen Hurts is not maximizing their talents, basically. And it almost feels like the play calling has also become a bit conservative. There were times on Monday night, they were in the red zone, for example, 3rd and 6, and they were happy to run. They got nothing out of it. They then had to settle for the field goal. Now, I get it. They've got a great offensive line. Lane Johnson, he has bodied some of the best rushers in the league. But at the same time, I'm looking at the personnel they've got. They've got, as I said, AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert, even DeAndre Swift from out the backfield if you want to create a passing game through him. They've got weapons and they're sort of settling for that. There's problems in Philadelphia for certain. They don't drop out of my top 5 though, because look at the schedule ahead of them. They've got the Giants at home, the Cardinals at home, and then the Giants again on the road. I fully expect them to bounce back and win all 3 of those games, and that will still give them a shot to get the number 1 seed if the other 2 teams above them, the 49ers and the Cowboys, don't win out. So I'm not writing them off. This is a very good team, and they just have to improve in certain areas. I don't know if they will, but as we've seen in the past with the Eagles, this Philadelphia Eagles is a good team. So we'll see what happens in the next 3 weeks. Now on to number 4 in my rankings this week. It is another team that has dropped. It is the Dallas Cowboys. They are very, very good at home, but they're not so good on the road, are they? It feels like they need to play in a dome to really sort of showcase how great they are. Don't get me wrong, they're still competitive on the road, on grass, outside in the elements, but they're just not as great as they have shown when they've been at home. This past week, they just got flat out dominated, out physicaled by the Bills on both sides of the ball. I mean, the fact that James Cook was able to rush for 179 yards, and it's not like he had, one 75-yard run to the house and everything else was gradual. No, this was just consistently gashing them, absolutely just ripping that defense to shred. So there's definitely concerns with them. They're still a great team. They will beat most teams that they face. Let's look at their schedule. They've got the Dolphins on the road this week. Big test. Let's see if Tyreek Hill plays this week. Then they've got the Lions at home. It being at home, that will be a chance for them to prove how good they are. The Lions have bounced back themselves. But kind of question marks on both those teams. I'm very intrigued to see how that game goes. And then they finish up at the Commanders. Potential banana skin for them. They don't like to play there. And I believe they lost there last year in the final week with Sam Howell at quarterback. So the Commanders trending in the wrong direction, but they will be fully up for that game. So, yeah, I mean, as we've said, Cowboys, very good team, better at home than on the road. Big test for them this week at the Dolphins. At number 3, I can't believe I'm saying this, it's the Buffalo Bills. They have gone from strength to strength since the firing of their offensive coordinator and Joe Brady taking over the reins. It feels like Sean McDermott might have just saved his job because that has been the turning point for the season. Okay, they lost against the Eagles, but they gave a really good showing of it. And since then, they've just gone from strength to strength. They've beaten the Chiefs in an ugly game. It was this week, though. They beat the Cowboys so impressively. And the thing that really stands out to me is the fact that Josh Allen had a very reduced role in this game. As I've said in my performance of the week this week, when the Bills win, it's usually because Josh Allen has had to pull out all the stops for them to miraculously win the game. But they've developed something here with Joe Brady. It's a new mindset to the offense. It is definitely run first, but it's also let's get the passing attack running through our running backs. I mean, James Cook, since the change, has had 100 plus scrimmage yards every game under Joe Brady's offense. So if this can continue moving forward where Josh Allen now has help, this team can be very, very dangerous. And all credit to their defense, who I was a bit overcritical of earlier in the season. They have shown me, they're not a top 3 defense, but they're very damn good. So this team can be dangerous. Who have they got left? They've got at Chargers, home to the Patriots, and then at Dolphins. Now, they've got to take care of business over the next 2 weeks. They're playing a Chargers team without Justin Herbert. They've just fired Brandon Staley. This is one that you take care of. Don't make a mistake against a team that maybe will be living off the fact that the head coach has been fired and be a little bit rejuvenated by that. You've got to take care of business. Otherwise, the Cowboys win means nothing. Again, Patriots at home, you should have beat them on the road. Another team that the season's over for the Patriots. Go ahead and take care of business. And all you've got to do then is just hope. Just hope that the Dolphins either lose to the Cowboys or lose to the Ravens. Because if they do, Week 18 actually becomes a game to win the division. And who would have thought that 3 or 4 weeks ago with the Bills? This is a massive turnaround. If they can win the division and get a home game, no one is going to want to go into Buffalo in January, especially their rivals, the Miami Dolphins. Number 2, probably quite expected, is the Baltimore Ravens. Man, Lamar Jackson at the peak of his powers right now. He makes good defenses, even great defenses, look silly with just his natural talent. I mean, his pocket awareness at times it's hilarious to watch. There was a play against the Jaguars this past Sunday night where he basically stepped up in the pocket and then all the rushers kind of then stepped back to try and get him. And then he ran backwards again into the pocket. It's like watching Houdini. It's just, this guy is special. In the passing game, he is, at the peak of his powers, like I said. He was always a great thrower, but he's taken it to that next level. And they've got a great chance of winning the AFC, winning the Super Bowl. And you look at their defense, for example. I think this is the 5th time this past week that they have allowed 10 or less points. That's an NFL record. Well, not record, but it's the highest in the NFL this year. It tells you their defense is very good. They might not have the star names that other defenses have. I know they've got stars. They've got Patrick Queen and Roquan Smith. What a duo that is at middle linebacker. But they're a great defense. They are special overall. Great schematically. There's a player that I sort of flashed to me on the film earlier in the season, Justin Madubuike. He is now showing up on the stat sheet. He's got 12 sacks. I think it's something like 10 games in a row with at least half a sack. And it's only 2 of those games that he's had half a sack. It's either in the rest of the games, it's been 1 or more. This is going to be a great game on Christmas Day. 49ers Ravens. Who else have they got? They've got Dolphins at home. They've got Steelers at home. I think they need to win just 2 of those to secure the number 1 seed. I'd have to check that, but they've got a great chance. They've definitely got a great chance. If Lamar can win out, maybe he puts himself right in that MVP discussion. They've got great weapons on offense. They have. It's a shame that they've lost Keaton Mitchell at running back. He was explosive, but he's gone for the year. But they've also lost other players like Mark Andrews, and they found a way to replace them. I mean, Keaton Mitchell himself was replacing the other running back. So this team hasn't really missed a beat in the last few weeks. I was worried about their consistency on offense, but they look like a more rounded team than ever. Isaiah Likely has come in at tight end, and it's almost like giving them another new dimension. I don't want to say that they're not missing Mark Andrews, but he really has filled that hole. He really has been next man up. We know about Odell Beckham Jr., Zay Flowers not really involved this week. Rashad Bateman, they've got plenty of options for Lamar. And they've got a good offensive line. And, Lamar, the ad-libbing, he is a playground player. Like, he will make something happen out of nothing. We saw one of the plays of the year where he was dead to rights, should have been sacked, evaded it, spun round, threw a straight dot to Isaiah Likely for the first down. That kind of killed the game off against the Jaguars. So plenty of promise. A team that I am worried about this week as a 49er fan. And now we move on to number 1. It is, of course, my San Francisco 49ers. For a 3rd week in a row, they stay number 1 in my top 5 rankings. They took care of business this week. We didn't have the gravedigger, Javon Hargrave. We didn't have Eric Armstead. Those are our interior defensive linemen going up against a team in the Cardinals with the creativity of Jonathan Gannon in the run game. At the start, it was difficult. We were getting gashed by the run, by the inside zone. But we made adjustments. We took care of business offensively. The Cardinals didn't really put up much of a fight. I mean, if you're not gonna cover Deebo Samuel or Christian McCaffrey, they're gonna walk in for wide open touchdowns. I mean, McCaffrey, there was one where Brock rolled out to the left. He threw it to McCaffrey. McCaffrey caught it. He landed on the ground. He stood up and then ran it in, and he was completely untouched. So, as good as Jonathan Gannon is offensively, there's probably a few question marks on their defense this week. Deebo Samuel, he's had 7 touchdowns in 3 games. He's only the 12th player in NFL history to accomplish that in a 3-game span, joining the likes of Randy Moss, Jerry Rice. This guy has peaked just at the right time, I think. He's it's been a while since we've seen a fully healthy Deebo, and there's no player that excites me more than Deebo when he is on. Like, he is special. He takes this offense to a higher level. As you know, there's quite a few superstars on this offense. I'll name another one. Christian McCaffrey, run CMC. Right now, he's my MVP. This guy is special. 1,800 total scrimmage yards, 20 touchdowns. There's still 3 games to go. Everyone was talking about, will Tyreek Hill get to 2,000 yards? I think McCaffrey's getting there easily and maybe a lot more than that. With the 20 touchdowns, I'm sure there's more to come from him. It's a special team. It's a great time to be a 49ers fan. Offensively, I think we are the best offense in the league. We've got so many weapons, so many answers for lots of different defenses. Keep doing what you're doing and stay healthy. We got a little bit of a scare this week with Brock Purdy ad-libbing. It was a great play. He should have been sacked, but he turned it into a 9-yard gain. But he did get rocked in the head, neck area. He was down. It was a bit scary, but as Debo said, when he went over to him, it was just a stinger. But it's just a little reminder for us how things can change in a blink of an eye. One play can change the season. So stay healthy, 49ers. This is a good opportunity to go all the way. I just want to actually touch on one other player. Charvarius Ward, welcome back. This player, I said, has been a liability for the 49ers over the last year or so. When he arrived from the Chiefs, he was locked down. He was a great addition. I'm not really sure what happened. I think he got an injury, and then when he returned last year, he was never quite the same. He was getting burnt by a lot of different teams. But the last month or so, I feel like since Hufanga tore his ACL, Charvarius Ward made a point to step up for this secondary that is a bit inexperienced now. He is basically the leader of the secondary right now. And man, he has stepped up in a big way. He shut down DK Metcalf. Okay, AJ Brown had a few big plays against him, but when it got to the red zone, man, he locked him down as well. And this week, he gets rewarded with his first career pick 6. What a great play it was. He made the read. The interception was good in itself, but the pure will of the player, you could see the acceleration. I never realized he had that speed in him to take it 60 yards to the house. That set us up to just take the game by the scruff of the neck and not let it become a divisional dogfight. We want to get through these games as easily and as less intensely as possible as we approach the playoffs. The 49ers, they've got Ravens at home, Commanders on the road, and then they finish against a very dangerous Rams team at home. They gave us a lot of problems on the road. The mission is quite simple. Win 2 of the next 3, and the 49ers are the number 1 seed. They will get a bye through the wildcard round, and the NFC will run through San Francisco to reach the Super Bowl. As a fan, I'm extremely excited. I hope we can win 2 of these next 3 games. Come on, Niners. I look forward most to this game on Christmas Day, though. 49ers at Ravens. It is my number 1 team versus my number 2 team. So we'll see what happens, and there could be a shake-up in my rankings next week.